Awesome. Welcome back, everybody, to the membership. I am so excited that David is back with us talking about the Lords of the Night, which sounds like such a scorpionic thing to say. So I am learning along with you. You guys, David's a friend of our community. If you guys have seen his work or you've heard him on the podcast with me before, David's based out of Montana, but he's a child of the world just like us, lots of travels, especially in South America, where he has been gifted time to study this Mayan astrology. And so, if you haven't seen any of the previous classes, I encourage you to go back because this is kind of the third part of what we were studying with Mayan astrology. It can be studied independently, but it is, it's its own topic. But I think that you'll find value if you build up to it. Um, so, David, thank you so much for this awesome presentation, taking your time and your wisdom and your experience and just sharing the information. We all really appreciate it. I get a lot of positive feedback whenever you're with us teaching. So, thank you. And I will de-spotlight myself and join the students today.
Awesome. Thank you for your wonderful welcome. And it's an honor to be here with you all. And yeah, just really excited about Mayan astrology, Mayan calendar. And I'm really excited to keep sharing these topics with you. So before like any further ado, I'll kind of do like a little background of like what the Mayan calendar is, just for folks to kind of give to remember that as well. And then after we get through the nine Lords of Nights, I have a little more in-depth personality for each of the 20 different deities and the 13 numbers. So because we weren't able to like fully get into all that information last time. So yes, so let's begin. So there are 9 lords of night. So this right here is a little drawing of the Zolkin, is like as the Maya Yucatecans call it, the solar light of calendar. And it's also in the Maya Quiche in Guatemala call it the Choquil, but it's literally the same system. It's just different in, how, in the interpretation. But you have 20 different deities, and then they rotate in a circle, and this also rotates in a circle. And these are the different numbers. So as a number turns, the day turns, and so forth. And in this little wheel connects to bigger wheels. So it is a ceremonial calendar of solar light known as the Zolkin by the Maya Yucatecos of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico and the Cholquil of the Quiche of Guatemala highlands. So these are from like a like I just hope to folks to understand that as this circle turns, and then this is connected to a bigger circle. And then over here on the right is the 9 lords of night. So basically, every 9 days, this cycle repeats. So every day, kind of like as this. So for example, today right here, we're on Monique, but we're on number 12. This is just a picture for the fourth day. But and then as this turns for the next day for Lamont, then the night lord's going to change. So it's just a repeating cycle of every 9 days is the night lord. And the reason the significance of the night lord is because you are born on a particular day, which has a deity. So if I was born today, my deity day sign would be Monique, and my number would be number 12. And then my night lord would be a different night lord because every night is a different night. So I recommend always this really awesome Mayan app for folks to kind of follow along with the Mayan calendar every day. And yeah, this is the MC Mayan calendar portal. And before we can get further, if Connie or Rose and Tiffany, if you guys want to jump on this Smithsonian Mayan calendar converter, and I think it'd be really cool if you guys could get your Zolking date as well as your Lord of Night, so you can start to know what your Lord of Night is before we get into the significance of that. And for those that are watching this on the replay, I also recommend to follow along on this calendar. Can you guys see that, or is my videos blocking it?
No, it's perfect. I was just like going back to my reading to search it, and I forgot about this calendar, which is easier to find. So yeah, we can see.
Okay,
And
perfect.
yeah, and we want to convert it. There's an option to do one minus plus or minus a day. Does that matter?
I would just hit the convert button because I think one minus one is going to take you back a day.
Oh, it'll just, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, and we should have how many?
Um, whoops.
One, should we have one Lord of Night or many?
You should just have one Lord of the Night.
Okay.
So you can see where it says the Zolkeen date, and it will say whatever it is specifically for your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So like 11 Lamont, it will say, and then it will go down Lord of the Night. And I think yours is G4 if my memory
It
serves me
is, yeah,
correct.
it's
Okay,
G4.
yeah. Okay,
I was like,
perfect.
what is G4? Like all I can hear is that song, like a G4. So that's
That's actually exactly what it means. No, I'm just kidding.
that's
I'm
awesome. All right. Did
kidding.
you guys,
Okay, do
yeah,
okay,
Rose
sorry.
and Connie, did you guys find yours okay?
Oh, I think you're on mute, Connie.
This is
So,
Rosie. I'm still looking.
Okay,
so
yeah, take your time.
I have the thing that you did for us when we went to Tulum,
Yes.
and I was just looking at it. I don't think it had the night though.
Yeah, I don't think I included that in that little
Yeah, because this says
before.
I am a SIB 12. Yeah,
Yeah.
a 12 SIB, CIB.
Yeah, but on the website that I have up here, that's going to give you
Yeah,
more specific for the Night Lord.
I'm gonna go there now.
Okay.
I was just looking through that because I thought, well, if I already have it.
Oh yeah, no, totally. And Connie, it's really cool because I also was born on a 12 day, and so are you. And today is a 12 day in the
I
Mayan
know.
calendar. So
I got my I got my Mayan thing this morning because it sends me a note every morning.
oh, cool. Oh,
Or
perfect.
it actually does it the night before, so I always know.
Awesome. Cool. And when folks have your guys' Mayan birth dates, like the deity and the number and the Night Lord, put it in the chat so folks can, if you want to, if you feel inspired to share. Oops.
Okay.
Mm.
What's the Hob date in this one?
So the Hob is actually the year.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's based upon 360 days because the Maya follow basically I forgot the actual scientific term, but it's very similar to it's basically the metric system before the metric system was the metric system. So it's based upon increments of 20 as opposed to our decimal system that we're in America, like by tens.
mm-hmm.
So the mathematically it's easier to calculate 360 days by 20. And then at the very end of that 18-month calendar system, they have 5 day special calendar where they do special ceremonies, and that kind of makes up for the days of the 365.
That's right. That's right. I guess I don't think of myself as a slow learner, but with topics like this, like the repetition is really helpful. So
Oh
thank you.
yeah, of course. And honestly, I feel like even like Western tropical astrology, I feel it's like it's all repetition, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So Connie, was that it? Were you able to grab
Yeah, I'm a
your
G7. I put it
oh,
in the
okay,
chat.
cool. Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. Well, then I'll continue forward, guys. So these are my references. You guys can look back later if you want, but they're just going to be numbered throughout the things in text citation. Perfect. So for today's Night Lords, I got a lot of my information from Soul Explorer. She's on YouTube, and there's also a bunch of information for the Night Lords in both of these books. I just didn't, I mean, I've read the stuff, but I didn't include it in today's talk. But I highly recommend these books to dive deeper into the Mayan calendar. So understanding the Night Lords, so the Lords of Night. So everyone has a unique Lord of Night, and it's a deity who ruled over the night of your birth, and it follows a repeating 9 day cycle. So the 9 lords of night referred to by the Maya as the Bolon Tiku, and Bolon means number 9. Whoops. And so it's the gods of the underworld that humanity must face with in order to evolve individually as a species. So these are considered like more of like darker sides of humanity, or more of like like subconscious motivations and desires. So it's connected to like the underworld. And so it's good for us to understand our primordial subconscious dark motivations, so that we can work with them, utilize them as skills and attributes, but not be overwhelmed and taken by them, and kind of that leads to our, deficit in a sense. So yeah, so basically there's kind of this understanding that we were given these things as humanity so that we could overcome them and evolve as a species, which is kind of a fun way of looking at the dark side of our psyches. So the Lord of Night represent people's innate subconscious desires and motivations. While most people believe that the Mayan names of the Lords of Night were lost, hence why anthropologists have dubbed the terms G1, G2, and G4, I kind of still believe some knowledge keepers might have this information. That's just my own little conspiracy theory, but I feel someone out there has got some of the sacred knowledge system still going. Awesome. So let's start off with number 1. And the word ju, so X's are kind of like a sh. So this is not wall from the Mexica Aztec people. So the Mexica were the Aztec, and if you look at the way Mexica is spelled, like Mexica, so that's how we get the term Mexico, but when it was really from the Mexica people. And at one point, they became like the totalitarian state, supposedly, that is called the Aztec Empire. But I'm friends with some Mexica folks, and they call themselves Mexica, not Aztec. So, with that being said, the fire god G1 Juetekutli. So, does anyone in here have a G1? I can't really see the chat.
Yeah,
Rose.
Rosie
Rose,
does.
okay, cool. Okay, awesome. So, Rose, if you feel confident in wanting to share if any of this resonates with you after we kind of talk about it, but number 1, so the G1 represented by the central direction. So it's the within direction as opposed to like the east, south, west, above and below. So it's the inward direction, like the heart, and it's of the water domain, which is very, similar to like even Cancer season we're in, with the water's emotion connected to the heart. And it's of the Notwell language. It is known as the fire god. So you have a very powerful and you are a very passionate person. You can be rather assertive and very direct and perhaps competitive to others. Throughout your life, you may experience very intense, forceful, and powerful events in your life, and you are all about your primal needs. So, leadership could be one of your biggest struggles if you have yet to cultivate the confidence, balance, and the personal power needed to be a leader. You must develop awareness of how others perceive you. You must have a better understanding of social norms. There could be the father dysfunction, the root of your leadership dysfunction. Perhaps there was a distant or like abusive father, or the lack of understanding of your father it could be a result of the dark side. So the more we understand our father, the more that we understand the dark side. And it urges you to put yourself first. And it's often associated with Mars and Western astrology. Awesome. So I'm just gonna go through these, and then we can
I
get
want to
in.
give some feedback.
Oh,
Rosie,
yes.
I'm going to give some unsolicited feedback, but I think it's safe to say that, yeah, like she has some Aries placements. And so I think the Mars, everything that you're talking to really speaks to her chart for sure. Obviously, Rosie, if you want to share, I won't say anything on your behalf, but I feel like the Mars placements are strong for you.
Sorry, guys, I'm working at the same time. Yes, I have a Mars stellium and a Sag stellium. My sun is in my 4th house. Um, I have a good relationship with my dad. The dark side was the other parent, but all of it does fit. My Saturn's in my 11 with my Pluto, so I have to figure out how to work that. But it all actually fits very well.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Isn't that so cool? Just like to see overlapping systems talking about the same thing.
And I do have to learn how to stick up for myself and be a source of or whatever. Lead the pack. That's my goal.
Awesome, awesome. That's why I always love like astrology, because it once we know ourselves, like even the dark sides or like the subconscious version, then we can use it as like an empowering tool in order to be like, okay, this is an area of growth that I need to work towards, you know. So awesome. As we are all in this Earth school. Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna move on to G2. Does anyone have the god of obsidian
Not,
itself?
yeah.
Okay. Cool. So this G2 Itzil, the god of obsidian, is the cardinal direction east and is in the rain domain. Perhaps you're dedicated to your work, volunteering, keeping the housework done. You have a high sense of responsibility and can be obsessive compulsive about it. Do too much and more than is needed. You are very hardworking and thorough with details. Sounds a lot like Mercury, right? And personal sacrifice comes naturally, and you will step ahead, or sorry, you will step aside for others. You prefer to take orders from above, ambivalent about being a boss. You are polite and accommodating, considerate and respectful. You must make your personal sacrifices meaningful, so focus on your giving. Possible loss of self from too much personal sacrifice. So boundaries is a good thing. Some boundaries are needed to protect your well-being. And the dark side could be excessive self-denial. Awesome. So I'm going to move on to G3. And if anyone wants to give your shot at trying to pronounce these, probably better than myself, but this is Pelitzintecutli, the Aztec lord of the sun god. So different than the Maya Ahau, but similar talkings or similar themes. Does anyone have a G3 in the room, in the house? No? Okay, cool. So G3 is the cardinal direction east and the rain domain once again. You have a strong need for respect from others. You are serious and insecure with high expectations. Publicly recognized, and you often hold a prominent position in social or in the world at large. You may marry someone who is powerful or who is seeking the limelight. You work hard to achieve your goals. You seek accomplishment recognition. Dark side is you might have that internalizing critical parent, that judging inner voice. So just be mindful of that. You could perhaps neglect your relationships or work under the shadow of authority figures. You must learn to be an authority in your own right via hard work. You learn from your elders and make realistic, pragmatic choices. You may have an unbalanced emotional life, and motivation is questioned. So others could question your own motivations, or you could as well. Your strength is persistence and dedication to a greater learning and improvement, and this is associated with the Sun and Saturn in Western tropical astrology. Awesome. Okay, cool. So I know Tiffany, you're the Sinotil, the corn god, G4. Is there any other G4s? No, okay, cool. So I particularly like this one. I mean, obviously I'm kind of obsessed with corn. So Sinotil is the cardinal direction north and in the corn domain. You are a healer and a teacher endowed with excellent communication skills, savvily applied when speaking and teaching, although you could perhaps have a nervous need to talk or think constantly. So meditative practices can help with calming the mind and quenching your thirst to think and speak. You are a strong, nurturing person who must seek healthy avenues for how you nurture others, because you could be damaging if you're over nurturing over the top, like an overprotective, like helicopter parent. As a healthy, nurturing person, you make a suburb a guardian of people, children, and animals. You are highly creative with thinking and writing, and a lover of art. And you're a polymath, Jack or Jill of many trades, being interested and passionate about many things, which might make you at times scattered, having difficulty focusing, which is quite apropos that G4 is said to be associated with Mercury and the 12th house in Western astrology. So Tiffany, you want to share if that resonates?
Yeah, totally. I'm like, how is this the subconscious dark side thing? Because that's all my good stuff. But I have 4 placements in the 12th house. Mercury rules my midheaven, and being a Virgo midheaven, and it also rules beekeeping, which I'm into. So guardian of people, children, and animals is huge. For sure, we have a farm. Everything out here is a rescue animal. And we receive, like, we've never said no to an animal that's coming in. So nurturing the animals, and the guardian of the land for sure. Feeling scattered at times. There was another one that was like the meditative thing. Like, I was cracking up at that because I'm always like, just go to yoga and meditate. Like, it solves everything, you know? And
Right.
maybe it solves everything for me, not humanity, but for me, the meditative practices has been a really central theme in my life. And I'm also just cracking up about corn in general. I won't take up too much time, but corn, I got on this rant about 20 years ago about all of our corn sources being genetically modified and not having real corn, and working with corn in the garden. And it was such an issue. Like, people were making fun of me about it. I just could not let it go. And so I didn't eat corn for a really, really long time, because I had this thing in my mind that, of all the evils of gardening and how the earth is this and that, and we should be protecting it better. And anyways, corn has, like, I've had a funny corn theme. My grandmother used to make fried cornbread, and that's one of my recipes that I've carried forward, which is kind of like fry bread, but it's fried cornbread. And I've just had such a theme with it. So it's great. It's just cool to see it come to life, and thank you for painting it for
Mm.
me and others.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up, like, 20 years ago, it's still the same battle between
Yeah.
like genetically modified corn and the old, like, real native styles. So there are some
Yeah.
producers that are still, like, if you go to native seeds
Yes.
search.com, so nativeseeds.org, but it's the native seed search is the company. They're working with native farmers from around the country to kind of regrow the traditional varieties. And yeah, like, well, one time, I'll just, like, a little tangential. One time, my wife and I were driving through Idaho, and we were driving for miles and miles, and we're coming upon this, like, factory that was, like, billowing out, like, dark, ominous, like, smoke. We felt like we were driving to, like, Lord Voldemort's, like, temple. It looked really messed up, and then we're like, what is this place? And then it turned out to be a corn syrup factory. And
Oh, wow.
so I really feel like they're kind of taking sacred corn and they're trying to, like, make it not the complete opposite. So yeah, I'm a huge proponent of protecting our native style corn. Yes,
Yeah.
so a little
Yeah.
tangential, but
Yeah.
yes.
But yes, thank you for sharing that.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, cool. So that, I'm glad that resonates with you. And also too, it doesn't necessarily always have to be the dark side, but it's like your subconscious motivations. So even if your subconscious motivations are your gifts, then that's fine. It's just like what you're being subconsciously motivated to exhibit in reality, or in the waking life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to G5, Michelantekutli. It's the god of the underworld. So there are, like, 9 prominent gods of the underworld, but this is kind of like the lord of the gods of the Shimbalaba, like the Mayan underworld of consciousness. Okay, so this is the north direction. This is in the earth domain. It's the midpoint. So the people that have this are the midpoint. They're like the center of the group. Your greatest challenge is to act from your true center and not being over obliging to what others need. And you must not use or be used by others. You need stable people in your life in order to ground you, and yeah, not take advantage of you. You are deeply involved in relationships, but you also struggle with them. You can be touchy and oversensitive, and to the point where you can be disappointed about things. And this is associated with Scorpio, Pluto, and the 7th house, which I feel like the Western tropical astrology right there, like, that kind of really sums it all up, with Scorpio, Pluto, and the 7th house. So how are you a mirror for others? So awesome. Moving on to G6. And Connie, you said G7, right? Is that correct? Okay, cool. So G6 is Chakluitikuli, the jade water goddess. Pretty cool little So these are from the Spanish books, or sorry, these are actually from Aztec books of the drawings the Spanish kept. So G6 is the West, the youth domain, self-controlled, self-sufficient, traditional, and practical. These people can be entrepreneurs. They tend to be self-employed, and they're very hardworking. You want to build things. You like to deal directly with the public as a consultant or a counselor, and you take responsibility for yourself. Others are less important for your happiness, and you are strongly motivated by fame or worldly success for acceptance. You hold yourself to high standards of performance. Approval may be needed by you to support your self-worth. You need inner security, which contributes to your dark side. And your dark side is ask yourself why you drive yourself so hard. So there could be like some other deep emotional like wounds that are propelling you to go really far in your like work career, but so understanding what's really deep down motivating you or pushing yourself so hard. And I recommend for people that have G6 to be just extra gentle to yourself, as I think we all should be gentle to ourselves. And G6 people can be sensitive to the rhythm of life, and there's an interest in the feminine side of life, and your interactions are usually good on that side as well. And this is associated with Mars, Saturn, and Leo in Western astrology. Okay, awesome. Moving on to Connie's G7, and I think this is also my wife's, and this is Zalkotli, the goddess of confession, and she actually, I don't know if you can see it, but she has like a broom here, and they say that like in some of the stories that like people would come to her and she would like sweep away like people's sins and kind of like wrongdoings with her broom. So G7 is the cardinal direction west, the youth domain, strongly motivated by relationships, and you want a partner. Enjoy working with the public as a consultant, teacher, or healer. Love quality, enjoy the finer things in life. You like to deal directly with the public. Oh, I guess I repeated that. Or I guess as a consultant or a counselor, you enjoy music and art and like to control your outer world because you cannot control your inner world. Often repress a high sex drive to not disturb your social life. You bury yourself in work to avoid these urges, self-inflicted punishment to make amends. And these are all just like possibilities. It doesn't mean like you have to be all these things. And creatively explore your inner urges through art or healing, and associated with Venus, Libra, and Virgo. I don't know, Connie, if you want to share if any of that resonates, you don't have to, just like open mic if you wanted to, but we can move on. Yeah.
Yeah, it resonates. Like all of it.
Right?
All of it.
I know. That's why I like this too, because like when I first read mine, I was like, oh my God, it knows me, you know.
It's like, wow. Yeah. I
mean,
just
Awesome.
bought 2 pieces of art in the last couple of weeks.
Beautiful,
you
beautiful.
wear it, Connie. Like you wear your art, you share your art, like your self-expression is art, like you are a healer when you walk into the room. I mean, just the three of us that are here live, like I
Yeah.
feel like it nailed the three of us totally.
Yeah, this for sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep,
Yeah, you
yep,
don't have to
yep.
say anymore. Yeah. 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 Beautiful. That's why I just think it's so fun, like all like understanding the Mayan calendar, because it is so like accurate, and it really is like honestly astrology of the galaxy, because it is like a galactic understanding of reality. So
Yeah.
I think it's really cool to kind of like revitalize this ancient system, and I know there's folks that have been continuously practicing it, like especially in Guatemala, but I really feel like culturally, like if the whole world was just to kind of enjoy the Mayan calendar, then it can kind of help us slow down and really kind of understand the daily
Yeah.
energies and live life from more of a cosmic perspective, as opposed to like the 9 to 5 work and grind and overwork yourself, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's
Okay.
getting ready to change.
Yes. Right. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. We're gonna move on to Teoyotl, the jaguar god, and that literally translates the Tepetl, as like mountains, and then Yolotl in Notwell is like heart. So it's like the jaguar god, the heart of the mountains. And I'm super grateful because I am actually the G8 in the Mayan calendar, which is cool. And it's fun too, because in the day like calendar, like the Mayan calendar, the Zolkin, I was born at Ish, the jaguar deity. So the night is the jaguar and the day is the jaguar. So I'm like a double jaguar, which is fun. So that's just a little bit about me. And cool. So when I read this, I was like, wow, this is totally me. So direction cardinal is south, and G8 people is in the conch domain. You have an overstimulated mind and can be an obsessive talker, and I'm guilty of that for sure. um, and then you could become a counselor, a psychologist, a psychotherapist, or an investigator. You are learning to face your inner world and draw it to the deeper side of life. You can get caught up in the struggle with negative thoughts. You react to stimuli quickly, quick-minded, and quick on your feet. And that's very true personally. Like I can be too fast for my own good. I can't tell you if my wife tells me to like slow down, you know? And then because people that are G8, they can be overstimulated and like quick to think, they may overreact or kind of stumble, or yeah. So basically very intelligent folks, but they could be so fast that they can even think like stupid thoughts because they're thinking so many things so fast. So can cause trouble in controlled conditions, and you have a strong need to talk. You have a powerful intellect, and you must learn to study effectively. And you need regular physical activity, and is associated with Mercury, Gemini, and the ninth house. Yeah, so this is I definitely resonate with this, and I'm guilty of all these things. And but yeah, but like what you're saying, Tiffany, too, I feel like this is also can be strengths in a way. So my ability to engage with folks and utilize my mindset, and so yeah, there's always a double-edged side to all these things. So it's just kind of like working with it in the healthier outlets, I think is the best way to go about it. And then moving on to G9, Tolok, uh, known as Chak by the Maya, but as Tolok by the Natwal. So G9 folks is in the direction of the south, and they're in the ninth domain. They're strong, independent, and self-sufficient characters. They can be stubborn, antagonistic, and you could reject others. You find it difficult to sustain your relationships. You're too independent and impatient. Although you're a hard worker, you prefer to work alone, and you are not good at asking for help, and you can come across forcefully. Dark side, you need compassion for those that are different than yourself, and you value privacy. You're a collector of things you value or of value. So whether that's wealth or just being an antique collector, and letting go of past events and issues would be a good idea in this life. And time in nature can be really relaxing and rejuvenating and healing. And this is associated with water signs with a Mars influence. Awesome. So I did save a bunch of time to kind of go deeper into the personality characteristics of each of the Mayan deities and the numbers. So folks know their Mayan sign, and they know their Mayan number. And so I guess, is there any questions before we dive into that? Do you guys want to reflect on the Night Lords, or?
I want to reflect for just a second. So
Yes.
I understand that there's 9 days and that they go in order. I know somebody out there is thinking like, is it midnight to midnight? Because like I did a reading today where 30 minutes really, really mattered. So I'm just curious. Does it matter? I mean, do you know? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but is it midnight to midnight, or what's the Night Lord timing?
Yeah. So I'll just put it this way, like I read different interpretations from different like Mayan day keepers. So different
Mhm.
folks that like practice the calendar like ceremonially, but they all have kind of slightly different opinions. But this is kind of how I look at the Mayan calendar. I feel that when from sunrise to sunset, that kind of like begins the Mayan day and
Mhm.
it ends the Mayan day. And then after sunset is kind of when the Night Lords come in.
Okay.
And then when the sun rises again, there'll be the new like Mayan calendar day. But some people believe that as soon as the days like set, so for example, today's Monique, and as soon as the sun goes down, some people believe that it already kind of began Lamont, which is going to happen tomorrow, you know? So I
I
think
love
it's a
that. Yeah, like I
yes.
mean, that's how the Egyptians do it too, right? Like they're, I think that, and a lot of Jewish culture too. Like I'm glad that you said that because I get so technical, but it's really like, I mean, the sun's gonna set tonight at 9 o'clock, whereas the rest of the year sometimes it's 5 o'clock, and so it's not precise except for the precision of the clock of the sun, which is the most precise. So and then Rosie had a question for you. She's saying, does one mean a Sunday? She was born on a Sunday. I mean, that can't be because there's 7 days and 9 numbers that rotate. So, no, but is that right, David?
So I guess what is the question? Is like being
She's
born on
wondering,
Sunday.
she's wondering if like number one means Sunday, like the first.
Oh, yeah, you know, because it's like a repeating cycle of 260 days. So it's more of like 13-day weeks. So the beginning of a week would be a one, but it has nothing really to do with our Roman Greco calendar. So if you were born on a 1 day, then I would say you were born on the beginning of a certain week. And each week has a different deity that rules that week. So for example, we're in the week of Ajmak or Kib, and but we're on the 12th day of that week, and today's day is Manik, the deer. So does I hope that answers your question.
Let's see if she chats up. Yes, she says yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. And I really love the Mayan calendar because like I think when we talked about our like the last time around, but the 13 days is like it's a quantum of energy potentiality that's coming from the sun. And it's like a wave of energy that starts and rises like a wave and then crashes with like stronger energy. So we've been like, since we started one Keeb that began the whole week of the Keeb that we're in. And then it's been building and building and building. And now we're at day 12, and then 13 is going to be the peak of that. And then we're going to start again a new energy cycle. So, yeah,
Which I
just
can
like,
relate to, like without knowing that the back end of my website is changing tomorrow. I'm moving to a new host, and so that'll be a 13. And then I have a product called 40 Days of Spirit, and it's a email sequence that goes over 40 days that helps people learn how basically to build their psychic skills. And it starts on a 1 day, and I did not plan that, but it's that's perfect how it just, and now like 13-day weeks is the new standard since I started learning from you, David. I'm like,
yeah,
I definitely need the full 13-day week
for
now.
sure. Yeah. And I agree. And but my wife really like helped me realize it, because I was like, I understood these things, but she's like, that's the really like how it should work, because you need 13 days to kind of complete the top or like this, like the projects you're working on. And it's like, yeah. But I mean, yeah, to kind of really get into the time thing, but I feel that the folks that kind of created our work 9 to 5 schedule and stuff, people have kind of even talked about it, but it's upon like a 1260 frequency with like 12 hours and 60 minutes. And it kind of messes with our frequency of energy. When the 1320, if you were to make that a frequency, that's a more healing frequency that's more aligned with our natural vibration as earth beings or just all species. So yeah, I feel it's like not only is it switching a calendar system, it's getting back to like a healthier vibrational frequency as all creatures are like, everything's made of frequency. So just to kind of get
Yeah.
like super deep on that. Yeah.
No, I love that because I mean, even if you think about it from a mundane level, if you have to do something every week, like if you're committed to like Monday at 6 o'clock, it ends up being too much. You end up getting burnout with it. You know what I mean? And you need space. It's like you need the repetition, but you also need space in between. And I find that the classes or the group arrangements or the studies that I go to or whatever, the ones that happen every other week, it's like I can digest that, and it's to me it's explainable by this calendar system. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I'll
Yeah,
stop.
yeah. No, that's fine. I think it's really cool because it's like, I mean, just one last thing about time, but even
Yeah.
Einstein said it's like, every time is all relative. So if we're completely like we're reductionized, like our lifestyle and every segment of time has been calculated, then it doesn't leave any room for time to go by fast or time to go by slow or like us to play with time. So it's like even some like folks I've learned from, like they say like if you need more time, like pray for more time and then you can kind of like bend more time. So it's literally the same amount of time, but you're bending time because it really is all relative to our intentionality of life, getting into like the quantum mechanics of reality. I know it's like super
No,
complex.
I
I hope I'm
actually
not going.
really needed to hear that because I like that's great. I'm really glad you said that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Okay, cool. Does anyone have any other comments or want to share anything or have any questions before we move into the second part? Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'm just gonna get into, so we went over like all the 20 different Nawals or deities, and we went over the 13 numbers last time, but this is a more in-depth to a person's personality relating to those deities as opposed to just the overall archetypes, which obviously relate to your personality, but this is a little bit more in depth. So we're going to go on to Chu Yin. Chu Yin people are talented and skillful. Remember, Chu Yin is like the master of all the arts and weaving and art and creativity. And so these folks are often jacks of all trades. They're lucky in love and they're also lucky with money. They can be spiritually insightful and wise beyond their years, and they can easily perceive the flow of life with the balance between the material and spiritual aspects of life. So they really know how to go with the flow because they have that playful silliness nature to them. So it's important for Chuyin people to devote sacred time each week to create conditions conducive for creativity, whether they're joyfully expressing themselves through a variety of different art memes. Or mediums, I should say. Memes work great too. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, you can kind of like dive into your own creativity. And it's also recommended to connect to your throat chakra. So Chuyin, it relates directly to the throat chakra, which relates to creation, creating, speaking, communicating, and expressing yourself in general. So exuberantly sing out loud and dare to dance, celebrating the divine. Because Chuyin's kind of like that playful trickster spirit.
The monkey one. Hey, before you go on,
Yes.
Rosie's just asking for a reminder. Are we finding this part on the converter page or?
Oh yeah. So the on the converter page, it shows you the Zolkeen date. So if you have folks want to go back to that Smithsonian website,
Mhm.
or get the MCP portal Mayan app. But yeah, if you would please put your Zolkeen date and deity and number, Nawal and number
Mhm.
into the chat.
Okay, cool.
Cool, and I'll share too.
I think that one just went to me, but I think
Oh,
you
okay.
meant to share with everybody. David is 12 weeks. Ish. Oh my gosh, now
Yeesh,
I
yeah.
just did it. The same thing, everyone.
So I know Tiffany, you're Lamai, and Connie, you're Keeb. Is that right? Awesome. And then Rose, do you have yours in the chat?
I'm typing it. I don't know how to pronounce it. Otherwise, I would try, but I'll type
Oh,
it.
okay. No worries. I honestly like Connie, yours is Keeb, and for like years I was calling it Sib, but I learned it was actually called Keeb. Yeah.
I think that's the biggest barrier to understanding Mayan astrology is because even though like I love and intuitively can speak Spanish pretty fluently, I'm very comfortable with it, but the words, it's almost like when I'm teaching psychic development where you start saying clairgustance, clairalience, clairvoyance, and the brain has to think of something before it can just be like, no, it's what your gut instincts are, what you intuitively know. And so to me, that's been the biggest barrier is like, how do you say Chuan and why is there bats behind it? Like there's two difficult names, that,
For sure.
but if I just think about
Yeah.
it, it's like, oh, it's the monkey one, then I got it.
Yeah, for sure. And then to go back to like the Chuyin bots, and this is probably just like my miscommunication as an educator, but they're I just wanted to highlight the different Mayan languages because if you
Yeah.
wanted to learn it from the Zolkin, which is Chuyin, or the
Mhm.
Quiche Maya's bots. And honestly, like when we get into a little bit further, I'll call some of the name the deities in Yucatecan Mayan, and then I'll use Maya Quiche and other ones because it kind of just helps me because for example, Ka'at, which is Maya Quiche, is the same as Khan in Yucatecan Mayan, but then in Maya Quiche, Khan means Cheek Chan. So it's like there's some overlap. So I just try to make it a little easier for myself.
Okay, so Rosie's a 10 at Snab.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sweet.
Wonderful. Okay, cool. So moving on to Ebb. So Ebb people are curious students of life, and Ebb, remember, is the sacred road of life. It's the deity of travel, and Ebb people can become exceptional spiritual guides, guiding people on their own life path, world travelers, traveling merchants, and midwives. And they're typically emotionally stable people. They have an aptitude for a great to be a great diplomat, and they wield the art of articulation and tactful communication. They're entrepreneurs who take the initiative in life, and they're naturally designed to share experiences. They have a noble, cheerful, sincere demeanor to them, and they're organized, hardworking, generous, and loving towards others. And they can become great teachers of how to live life exceptionally well. So they must channel their higher self, the cosmic consciousness, and then joyfully walk their sacred path of destiny. Because it's all about the sacred path of destiny. So Ebb folks can help others on that path. So moving on to Ben or Ah. Ben people can be very grateful, helpful, and attentive, and they're often kind to their parents and feel called to maintain the family legacy. They have a proclivity to be green thumbs and can easily become talented farmers, botanists, or heal people with plants. In the Maya Quiche of Guatemala, they kind of look at Ben as like abundance, and if Creator has blessed you in this life, like through your own hard work and stuff, you'll have like a very fruitful garden with like a lot of trees growing because that relates to like Ben because it's plants, it's trees, it's the reed plant. So Ben people possess sacred knowledge of much spiritual power, and they can be guiding lights of guiding light for others and the guiding light of their children. Ben embodies the service, impacting the world for the better. Awesome. And then I'm Ish, so definitely biased. I love this one. And Ish people wield the wand of wisdom and divine will to heal others and love others. And Ish people are blessed with the ability to interact with the spirit world and communicate with the bigger spirits within nature and the deities, spirits, and the seen and unseen. And I'll just to like, because I feel like I know you all, I'll just kind of share some like kind of like more spiritual sides of myself, but I've always had this kind of ability, kind of clairaudience to like even hear kind of like nature spirits or kind of like, or if I pray to like other deities, like I almost feel like I'm could be in like communication with them. And I feel honestly in a lot of ways that is because I was born on a Ish day. So there's this innate like deeper understanding of like Mother Earth and the nature cycles. And my nephew actually has the same like birth date in the Mayan calendar as me, which is really cool. And I see already within him like similarities. Like we were at the lake earlier this summer, and he didn't think anyone was around him, and I like he's 6 years old, and I saw him like kiss a rock, and like I don't know, just like this is like a deep connection to Earth, which is really beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, Ish is the very soul of nature and of the spirit energy life force, the vitality of life of all living things. And Ish is really often associated with Mayan altars and the holy heart beating through flowing waters like rivers and streams. And in Guatemala, a lot of the Mayan altars, or I shouldn't say a lot, but there are certain super special Mayan altars that are literally within cave systems into like the heart of a mountain, and that relates to Ish, and even like the night lord of of the the night lords of the jaguar god. And so being life-bearing energy, Ish's divine duty is to protect nature and offspring. Ish bestows the capability to listen to the holy deities and the nature spirits. And Ish people are very energetic and passionate and have an abundance of vigor, energy, which they utilize to pursue their goals. And they can often seem to be especially endowed with all kinds of practical abilities. So moving on to men people, and I have a few friends that are men people, and I've seen them embody these characteristics without them knowing it, which is really cool. But men people have a proclivity to create spiritual wealth through that, having that internal self-worth equals the net worth idea. So men people are extremely intelligent, kind-hearted, and have a strong intuition, or could develop this ability. They have a profound ability to create wealth as long as their vision is aligned with service and helping their community. They prosper as they help their community prosper. And they're literally social butterflies. They have the ability to become visionaries and soothsayers with accurate predictions, as well as the ability to articulately communicate, and they're excellent organizers. And remember, men is related to the eagle, and it's related to birds and all in general, and the language of birds, but often it's mostly typically connected to like the eagle or the condor or the quetzal, but literally all those birds have the really far vision. So Min helps you kind of see from the mountaintop, have that long distance view. And Min people are clever, they're accurate, honest, and truthful, and many of them are eloquent, as well as they have the gift of words to help to make them um, which really just helps them be like really good diplomats, as well as intermediaries between opposing viewpoints. And then moving on to Keeb, Connie, this is you. And it's also, we're in your week, the week of Keeb right now, which is cool. And Keeb people are courageous and intelligent. They possess the ability to develop an excellent memory if they're patient with their memory recollection. And they maintain a positive mindset via being self-loving and gentle with themselves. They live life as lifelong learners, and they're lovers of life. They have the courage to solve problems, and they understand wisdom from their own cultural heritage and or cultures, and communicate those wisdoms and energies. The exercise caution when wielding your wondrous wit and tact, and pray for divine intelligence to transmute sacred words with the word like logos, and you will be materially and spiritually successful. So it's all about our internal dialogue is creating our reality, or just the way we think, I think, is affecting our greater reality. So it's imperative to be intentional and mindful with the words you share, since Keeb expands our words and makes them even stronger, whether that's creating positive or negatively changes. So speak with purity and not swear in vain, because our words are our vibrations, and they manifest as illness or happy as healing. Does any of this resonate with you? I know a lot of this was in your little reading too. Cool. And then moving on to Kaban people. So Kaban people have the proclivity to become spiritual guides, especially when they utilize their wisdom, intelligence, and intuitive capabilities to help others empower themselves on their spiritual path. Excuse me. Kaban people have the strength of the synergy between the heart and the mind, and they're highly creative, mindful, and abundantly clever, and know how to analyze and dissect things with their minds. At best, their ideas are immensely practical. And Kaban, lots of times is related to like the woodpecker, and the woodpecker is seen in South America as like the shaman of the birds. So there's a really kind of like a deep understanding of not only intelligence, but of like divine wisdom. So I think Kaban people have that. So they can be hyper practical, but they can also be very much tapped into the greater understanding of reality. So they're really diligently patient. They're great problem solvers, natural leaders, and they often become pillars of their communities. They can be prophetic, future thinkers, visionary, They have typically they have faithful, dependable, or typically they are faithful, dependent lovers. Kaban natives, an idea is only as important as they can turn it into reality. So what good is theory unless you can apply it? And they're absolutely love learning, reading, art, music, etc. Because they're very intellectual beings. And moving on to Itsnab or Tiash, and Rosie, this is you, I believe. Yeah. So the truth will set you free and truth hurts. These two statements go along with Tijash. And I have some family members that I have this, and my wife was like she has some aspects of this too, which is really cool. And I really feel like they can just cut straight to the point and get to the bottom of truth, which can be like super solid, direct information, which could be interpreted as like the truth only hurts you if it's meant to hurt you, kind of a thing. But they're very, very much speakers of really direct communication, not what I'm doing right now. I'm just kidding. Yeah. But T-Judge people are great public speakers. And although sometimes their words cut like obsidian stones, because Tijash is the deity of the obsidian knife, the obsidian mirror, and they're said to be clairvoyant and capable of mystical understandings from their dream time as well. So pay close importance to your dreams because they could be prophetic or giving you deep interpretations upon your path. And I think that's true for all people, but for Tijash people, they have a strong proclivity to really work with the dreams. And they can also be gifted with the ability to be prophetic and prophesize the future. And similar to Tijash's sharp obsidian nature, they're blessed with the ability to get straight to the point of things, understanding truth and speaking truth very directly. Tijash is the narwhal of the wolf, and thus Tijash people are gifted with the intrinsic abilities to psychically understand the world. And I really look at like if you look at wolves in nature, they don't really like communicate too much to each other through howls. It's more of like just being on the same consciousness and like certain eye looks and just really kind of understanding the subtleness of life. And I really feel like folks that are Tijash, they kind of have like more of a sensitivity to how everything works, so they could kind of understand life more psychically in that way as well. I don't know if any of this resonates with you, Rosie.
Yes, it does.
Awesome. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, and then moving on to Kawak. And my mom and my mother-in-law are both Kawaks, and one of my best friends is Kawak. So I kind of like understand this characteristics from so many different personalities, which is cool. So Kawak people are often community leaders, and Kawak is the nature animals are the turtle and the ant. And if you think about the ant, ants are always working together as a team, and I really feel that that's kind of Kawak in a nutshell. So they can be caring, kind, and service orientated. They can be balanced, calm, tender, affectionate, home-like, and do not tolerate injustice. And they act with intelligence. They're noble, imaginative, and they're all about justice. Kawak natives are extremely sensitive, and their sensitivity, in fact, could be one of their best qualities. These people are intelligent and imaginative, and they're intrinsically have a feminine nature to themselves, as we all do have masculine and feminine natures, but they have like a just an inherent femininity to themselves. And because of this, I believe they have a very intuitive nature, and it endows them with natural artistic talents. And Kawak natives can be fabulously creative as well. Cool. So moving on to Ahau or Ahu. Ahau people are natural leaders, and this is remember is the deity of the sun. They're intuitive and they're capable of divination in different forms. Highly powerful yet gentle and good-hearted humans. At times unwavering in their belief, believing that they are right, and they might learn the hard way that this is not always the truth. So they also have a natural mediumistic or shamanistic abilities and could easily become clairvoyant or psychic. And if they can develop clarity or perceptions and learn to correctly channel their psychic abilities, they can become true spiritual leaders and live their ultimate destiny. So moving on to Akabal. So Akabal or Akbal, these people are born on the novel of love and romance par excellence. Thus, these people can be quite romantic and relationship orientated. And I recommend that they pray to the great spirit of love and Akbal to manifest your one true love and which like your appropriate partner in this life. Because Akbal people often have an air of being eternally youthful and charming with magnetic personalities, being very eloquent and sometimes very wise. Aqua people can be popular, helpful, and pleasant to be around, and they have the proclivity of being very intelligent with positive and cheerful mindsets, and they are blessed with a variety of favorable qualities that people are naturally attracted to. And they can also be really wonderful, poignant writers. Cool. And then moving on to people that were born on today's day, Monique. Monique people are clever and able to think on their feet. Monique people have a strong masculine energy regardless of their gender. The natives of Monique are strong, powerful, and because of this inherent power, they are natural leaders who have an almost unlimited potential, and they have a passion for truth and justice. And Monique is all about being the authority in the community or being a spiritual authority. So these people possess that natural authoritarian ability to themselves. Many people are strong in body, mind, and spirit. They're agile, responsible, intelligent, and have convincing powers. Self-confident. They can be counselors, supportive, good advocates for others, and are spiritual guides. And they have courage to perform social activities and are intelligent, responsible, positive, and victorious. These really could become your community leaders. And then moving on to folks like Tiffany, Lamont folks often have an affinity for agriculture. Lamont is associated with seeds, fertility, growing in abundance. And people born on Lamont days are star seeds of Mother Earth, and they're channeling cosmic harmony into our reality. Lamont people are the way showers, leading themselves and others into the fifth dimension. And people born on Lamont days are excellent cultivators of Mother Earth. Moreover, they wield the aptitude to pray for Earth's germination and fertilization. They can be very hardworking, responsible, patient, well-tempered, intuitive, intelligent, and possess the propensity to manifest wealth and success. I know, does that resonate with you, Tiffany? I know it does, but
Yeah, I know my favorite is the way shower. I just love that, and I love that it is a nod to agriculture. And yeah, I just, the more you learn about your thing, the more you love yourself. And so I just yes, that feels very good to hear.
yes,
And
yeah, and and
and
it's
the
cool too because
fertilization and the germination, the bees, I mean, come on, it's all
I
in there.
know. And I am hardworking and I am responsible. I don't know about
Yep.
patient.
You're well tempered though. I think you're very well tempered.
Thank you, Patty.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're patient too. Yeah. And it's cool too because I might have mentioned this in your report with you, Tiffany, but Lamont is like literally like a portal to the greater galaxy. So it's like a seed, but a star seed. And it really is kind of like connecting us to the overall cosmic rhythm of reality. So it's also, I think, why you also love astrology, because it's all about the cosmic rhythms too, which is a fun way of looking at it.
Yeah, it's a super fun way of looking at it. It's mind blowing. Like the book that you send me that I can only read in small doses, I'm just like, whoa. Like there is a cosmic tapestry, and I do I do teach astrology, so it really helps things make sense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And then moving on to Moluk. Moluk people are respectful, strong, sincere, supportive, and courageous. And Moluk is like the deity of both the shark and the mountain lion. And it's also the deity of fire and water. So it's like the manifestation of rain. So Moluk is kind of all about harmony and balance and grace, but it's also like the struggle and the journey to reach those states of consciousness. So it's more of like the journey. So I feel Moluk people are innately like well balanced, but it's probably from their own inner struggle that they've had to reach those states of grace. So just take that into consideration. But Moluk people are also highly intelligent with creative and imaginative mind, and they can be also analytical. They're balanced, dynamic, and they possess strength in any situation. They have a multiple character, or they are multiple characters, and with great virtue, and can be excellent farmers as well because they possess fertile energy connected to that deep feminine nature of the mountain lion. And Maluk people tend to have intense lives full of emotions, but have access to many gifts and abundance of energy. So it's crucial for them to have healthy outlets for their powerful energy. Maluk people can also become spiritual guides, being the warmth and light of family, the family's hearth, offering spiritual light, love, and strength to homes, families, and communities. And moving on to Imish, I have some friends that are Imish people, and Imish is literally the left hand of reality, as they say. So it's kind of the spirit world, it's the subconscious, it's the out there energy, it's very much the age of Aquarius, it's the aliens, it's kind of like all those things that are subconscious below the waters, deep,
What
deep
did you
waters, of course.
what
What was
did you
that?
say, the left hand of what?
Oh, and Mayan like cosmology, they kind of look at it as the left hand of reality.
I
So
love
like
that.
yeah, right. So we have our right hand, which is our normal day-to-day kind of 3D understanding, and then the left hand is all those hidden kind of realities. So Imish is really wild and it's really connected to water. It's very much like Piscean and Aquarian energy mixed together, from my understanding. And Imish people are like mystical things, but they may be more attracted to the magical than rather than the genuinely spiritual. So that's just a little cautionary note if you're an Imish folk. Imish people are highly likely to become artists, poets, mystic, visionaries, tapping into that intuitive natural side of themselves. They can also become homebodies who work to live rather than live to work. So just be mindful of that. And Imish people can be eccentric, gentle, loving, and romantic. Imish people have a close connection with visionary reality, makes them see highly charismatic to ordinary minded folks. So it's very creative out there kind of thinking. And Imish people's life lesson is develop and utilize their psychic powers for the betterment of others. Because according to their Mayan tree of life, which we talked in a podcast ago, they're they have the power to utilize men for like seeking spiritual and material wealth, but it's really important for Imish to utilize their gifts for the betterment of other, because I think that's going to really, as opposed to just trying to seek wealth or just trying to seek like spiritual control over others, if they follow that middle path and really are working on spiritual development, they can really obtain a high degree of abundance in this life if it's in service to others. And moving on to Eek people, um, Eek is really cool. It's the air, the breath of life, and it's the hummingbird. And Eek people are full of life. They're very have a lot of strong integrity. They're innovative, imaginative, adaptable, dreamers. They can be excellent business merchants, traders, could be divine and future visionaries. My brother-in-law is an Eek, and he's a very successful businessman. He's like so intelligent, but he's also like so full of life and love and very playful and very quick-witted, which is fun. And they can be executives par excellence. They have courage to face any crisis. And although they can have temperamental character, like the wind coming, different types of wind, they can also have extreme viewpoints, but it can be very playful, but they can get angry too, because the eek relates to anger as well. So Eek folks are absolutely brimming with cosmic energy and can be truly spiritual folks. Eek people are confident, highly intelligent, articulate. They have vivid, creative imaginations, and they are some of the strongest, toughest, and most resilient of all the day signs. And they can navigate through almost any situation in life because they have that adaptability, that fluidity that is the wind. And I really think like Eek can people that have like eek or even their destiny of being eek, they can become some of the most spiritually adept folks because they're absorbing the breath of life, which is spirit, that is the embodiment of spirit. So eek can be really powerful spiritual folks. And then moving on to Khan, or also Ka'at. And so this is the one I like to call Ka'at in the Maya Quiche as opposed to the Yucatecan, because it just kind of helps it separate the differences. But so Ka'at, it's crucial for Ka'at people to stay true to their soul path. And Ka'at is kind of like the net, it's kind of like grandma's spider. So you can weave the reality you want, or you can tangle yourself in webs that you do not want. And it's all related to every thought, every intention, everything is literally a net, like you're casting a net of intentionality out into the world. So it's all about, for caught people and anyone, just being really clear about your intentions and following your heart and having integrity, being virtuoso, and by avoiding troubles and entanglements. So weave the life that you really want and cut out all the webs of stuff that do not serve you. So caught people have the natural proclivity to become spiritual guides, sages, or artists, and they're very magnetic personalities. And like spiders, they can spin a web to attract people to them. Ka'at people can be diligent, highly intelligent, capable of generating many brilliant ideas and becoming quite prosperous. People born on Ka'at days can easily become, among other things, educators, researchers, psychologists, coordinators, managers, human resource managers, weavers, economists. Understanding kind of overall bigger systems thinking is how I kind of look at Ka'at as a way, because it's all interconnected within the web. Even the internet would be related to Ka'at because it's all different systems being woven together. And Ka'at is also connected to, or is the deity of pantries. So it's all about our resources and yeah, how to work with those storages of grains. And then moving on to Chikchan, which is related to Kokolkan, which is Quetzalcoatl, the deity of sacred law, known as the feathered serpent. So it's the ancient Mayan dragon, which is very universal amongst all cultures, had dragon deities. And I really feel understanding the Mayan lineage of Chikchan Kokolkan has really been profoundly changed my life and understanding of reality. And one of my biggest Mayan mentors, I was hanging out with him last week, my Inlaak, my other me, and he actually I looked up his Mayan calendar because since I've known him, or I haven't seen him for the last like 5 years, and so since then I've really dove in deep into Mayan calendar, and I was able to look him up, and he was actually a Cheek-chan, which is really cool because it helps me understand that he really is like a knowledge keeper. And yeah, so the Mayans say that the Kopoya, which is also called the Kundalini in like Indian tradition, is already awakened within people that are born in Chikchan days. And then they say because if the Kopoyas awaken you, that the gods themselves may contact us directly using the Kopoya energy as a communicative medium between their world and our world. So it's like these people can be like fully Kundalini active in a sense where they're really able to tap into like spiritual understanding of life. And but Chikchan also relates to education and knowledge and spiritual initiation and helping the community carry on the tradition. So it's these people can embody all those things. And with the powerful Kopoya force flowing through Chikchan people, they can grow into become outstanding healers, psychics, and they could be perhaps the most psychically powerful of any sign because they have that innate tapped in ability, that inner fire, which is that Kundalini Kopoya. And people born on Chikchan days, they're born with this Kopoya energy, this lightning soul fully active. Other people either develop it or have to awaken through it through various powerful spiritual experiences. And yeah, I just kind of find it funny that some of my main big Mayan elders are the Chikchan. So it was just kind of fun. Even his wife, that I'm also close with, she's also a Chikchan. So it's just kind of cool to see that there really are kind of like, I feel like their life paths are connecting and growing their whole community and connecting like the old ways with the new ways. And really, in my words, I really feel like they're channeling heaven to earth in a lot of ways, which is really cool, regrowing life. And then moving on to Kimmy, um, one of my good friends is also a Kimmy, and I feel like Kimmy folks are just naturally psychic in a lot of ways, and they have natural connection to like the ancestors because on Kimmy days they say it's like a portal to the ancestors because Kimmy is the deity of mulch, but it's the deity of death, but it's more of like the eternal cycle of life. So it's death and rebirth, the eternal now. So Kimi possess this potential to become spiritual guides because they can assist others on the sacred spiritual path of life. And Kimi people are respectful, intelligent, strong, and have the proclivity to become deeply intuitive, clairvoyant, and have the capability also to prophesize. They can become skilled in work and the arts and are highly likely to be good-hearted, generous, and charismatic, but cautious. They have magnetic personalities, charismatic, with strong leadership abilities, and could easily be close to people with fortunate and powerful, with like money, basically, or like having, like, I guess, like people that can help you out in life, like different positions of authority, and they could propel people to become famous or blessed with living a great life. Kimi represents the eternal now, which I was talking about, and they appear to be forever young. Even my friend, she's currently pregnant and she looks so like youthful herself. And Oak, moving on to Oak, I really like Oak. Obviously, my wife's Oak, so I understand it really deeply. But I really feel Oak is really cool because it's the deity of the sacred and spiritual law. So it's like the authority of law, and it's our cosmic order of reality as well as like our earthly reality. And so it's kind of the bridge between those as well. And similar to how a dog or wolf will innately feel the subtle vibrations within the environment, Oak people might innately feel these cosmic order of things. So they say things exactly as they are, which can be viewed as strong words, but they're really just pointing out what they see. There's no BS to reality. They're just kind of cutting through any illusions or misunderstandings. And so Oak's greatest challenge would be avoid being viewed or actually being judgmental, prideful, or wielding strong words toward others. So having more self-reflection of how those words might come across, even though they might be just saying the ultimate like deep truth about it, it could affect people if they're sensitive. So it's just kind of navigating that if you are an oak folk. And the remedy is this to speak with frankness, but also gentleness, I think is really the key. And oak people are faithful, kind, strong, very balanced individuals, and they are helpful in community matters. They bring clarity and good judgment to any situation, and their unquenchable idealism helps them to achieve things that others believe to be impossible. So they're very, very grounded in like strong ethics. Awesome. So we just went through the 20 signs. I know we're over time, but I'm totally happy to go more with the 13 numbers. There's not as many slides on this one, so it's all up to what you guys are feeling. Should we progress?
Yeah, I think, do you have a feel for about timing of it?
Probably like another 20 or 30 minutes, I'd say, or maybe less.
Okay, yeah, sure. I personally have another thing going on this evening, so if we could keep it to like that 20, that would be great because I don't want to miss an opportunity to learn. And
Okay, perfect.
thank you for the extra time.
Absolutely. Yeah, and this is my honor. This is like super fun stuff. So I know that the last class we went over the 13 numbers, but once again, this is more specific to the personality of people that are born on those numbers. So folks that are listening now and also for the recording, make sure you have your number in your personal number in mind as we go through these. So number one, Hun. Hun is a very initiatory energy. It starts the beginning of the Mayan week. And people born on 1 days are filled with strength and resolution under any and all circumstances. So my Mayan elder that I was talking about, that was also Chikchan, he's also a number one, and I've seen this. He's very like strong, initiating, and very adaptable to any circumstance. One people have tremendous aptitude because they deeply know themselves. That's their life journey, similar to like Aries. That initiating energy is to know themselves deeply. And one people are likely to create because one is the tone, the galactic tone vibration of creation. And when people take action quickly and they possess a tremendous amount of power, they are confident and prefer to strive forward with courage. So moving on to two, or Ka. So number two, related to the yin and yang, number two people have twice the strength, will, and power of people born on any other day. And because they can utilize this, either side of the cosmic polarities, they could be quite indecisive at times. So they could go to extremes, and it's kind of finding that middle path, but you could have twice the amount of energy and things. So number two people are gifted with a capability to collaborate and cooperate, to be cooperative. So number two people, or sorry, number two is asking you to reflect and analyze the masculine and feminine aspects of yourself, your own personal yin and yang, and to embrace these polarities and complementaries, and to see and feel and be the totality of your being and its true divinity by understanding both sides of yourself. And I think this would be good advice for any human, but especially number two folks. And also to like, because number two, it's how they interact with others too. Like, what is the other person? How are they growing from reflective? How is it affecting? How's the relationship? Where's the harmony within the relationship? And how are they able to utilize the polarities of the relationship? So moving on to Osh, or number three. And Osh is really, I like Osh. Osh gets a bad rap, but I think it can be really beautiful because Osh is kind of galactic cosmic harmony. I look at it like juggling. So if you're trying to juggle three like rocks in the air and you're not doing it correctly, then they could be falling all over the place and it could be chaotic. But if you find a good rhythm to it, then you can be going with the flow. So Osh people are really gifted in expressing themselves, and their presence brings about more communication, more expression, more action. They can kind of stir things up because they have that, I don't want to say chaotic energy, but it's kind of a disruptive energy. But because they feel the core vibration and the rhythmicness to the universe. But if you look at the universe is very creation orientated. So it's very, it can be chaotic, but it really leads to creation. So three people can stir things up, which but can that can be useful. So three people can be very cheerful, active, lighthearted, and very energetic. Three people brings light to darkness. They can heal the soul. They can maintain balance, and they can have a proper world perspective. And people born on third days can waver like a leaf in the wind if they're not being focused and diligent to their path. Moving on to four people, Khan. So four people are blessed with the ability to truly discern what is going on inside themselves and the world at large. Remember, four relates to the four cardinal directions. It's very the stabilizing energy of our entire universe is actually divided into four quadrants. And four people possess the capabilities to be both highly intuitive, naturally logical, and understand order and definition. And number four empowers them to understand and become in alignment with the natural cycles, the four seasons of the year, the four cycles of the day, night, midday, morning, and so forth. And the four people have many powers that they can draw on to have an internal completeness, that wholeness, that stabilizingness, in order to manifest many strengths, abilities, and possibilities. Four people can have calm, reflective, and balancing understanding energy. So four can be really solid people. Moving on to Ho or Jove. Ho is number five. People often arrive early. They're the first to reach a goal. They may be ahead of their time. Sometimes their tendency is to rush into things without forethought, and they may lead them into awkward situations. Five people are intelligent, robust organizers and communicators, and they know how to utilize resources to the best way possible. Five people are positive, dynamic, happy, empower the people that they surround themselves with. And by supporting their positive aspects, they encourage people to bring out the best qualities. So five is very much team player, supportive. Moving on to number six, Uok. Uok people are infused with the vibration of heaven, and heaven is brought to the earth. As they journey homeward, earth is brought to heaven. Thus is created organic balance, heaven and earth in symbolic union. I look at number six as like a rod, like the tree of life. It's very much grounded, stabilizing energy. So six people have that innate creative energy. There's very stable, balanced people, and they have the ability to handle any endeavor and to complete any endeavor. So six people are very realistic, practical, very stable, grounded individuals, and their actions have concrete reality to them. And they're based on understanding more of the practical aspects of life. So 6 people are very solid. They're like very grounded folks. And then moving on to number 7, Ook. Number 7 people are very clairvoyant, intuitive, and they have the ability to receive guidance through dreams. And if you guys remember from last class, I talked about how the pyramid is kind of like the energy of the 13 days. So the energy starts with 1 and it rises up to number 7, which is like the top of the pyramid, and then it keeps building an energy into 13. So people have the ability to see from all angles because they're on top of that pyramid of energy, if that makes sense. So 7 people being born in the middle of the 13 numbers view life from top of the pyramid, seeing all sides of an issue and thus creating new harmonious solutions which resolve the seemingly tensions of the opposites. So they really can be objective in their perspective because they can see all sides of things. So folks that are just rooted in their own particular perspective might see things as right or wrong, or this is the truth, or this is the truth, when 7 people can kind of see all sides as truthful and to see a bigger, greater truth. So all points of view seem equally valid, though they can often avoid making decisions because they can see all sides of things. So 7 people, I encourage them to be decisive. They must learn to be decisive and to use the view from the top of the pyramid to developing creative solutions rather than remaining in a state of indecisive neutrality. So because you can see all sides of things, try to see the best solution possible. And moving up on to Uashak, number 8. 8 people are possess an immense supply of energy abilities, and however, they must be mindful not to overpower others by becoming upset, disturbed, or angry. They might be inclined to readily change their minds and could perhaps be ambivalent about things. Since 8 embodies wholeness and completion, 8 people have an innate wholeness. 8 people's life path is love made visible. And 8 is really connected to time and the weaving of life. So 8 people are really affecting the overall life through their feelings, their intentions. They really are a powerful force. So just be mindful of how their energy, how you're bringing your energy to different circumstances and people, because you can be more influential than you can imagine just from your thoughts and your feelings. And moving on to Bolon, number 9. I especially like Bolon because my wife is a Bolon number 9. And number 9, people embody the wisdom of the larger cycles of reality. And think about, a woman's gestation cycle is nine moons, 9 months. Like corn sometimes takes 9 months from seed to cob. So 9 is just an inherent femininity to it, and 9 people embody the life's larger pattern of birthing and service to humanity, the new earth energies. So 9 is a very sacred, holy number, and its energies are encourage 9 people to embrace and express their inner wisdom and their mastery. And though it always may not appear to be so, 9 people are well balanced and can manifest their goals because number 9 is asking them to be rather than trying to be. And combining this with a proper mindset, things they desire will come magically to them. I see this all the time with my wife, like even in human design, she's like a manifester, but like for example, like for the last like couple months, I've been telling her, I'm like, oh, I really want to see like a grizzly bear. And my wife's like, you're crazy. She's like, the only way I want to see a bear is like 200 yards away, like when I'm in a car. And then it was so funny because a couple weeks ago we were driving to the lake and we saw a bear in the exact way my wife had described how she wanted to see a bear, like to the T. It was exactly so. They might not be aware that they can really manifest the reality like that they want. It could seem hard for them, but it's really about getting clear and being super specific with their intentionality of what they want to manifest. I think that's been really helpful for what I've seen in number 9 people. And moving on to number 10 or Lahun people. And I think Connie, are you number 10 or Rosie? Is that right? Oh, Rosie. Okay, cool. So number 10, I have like one of my wife's aunts is a number 10, and I really like number 10 because 10, remember, is all about strengthening your relationship ties to community and also to the people you love. So 10 is very much a relationship sign. And number 10 people can manifest anything negative or positive, fear or hopes, ideas into physical reality. So just being mindful of the powerful tool that is your brain, that is your mind. And yeah, writing out all your intentions, all your thoughts, all your fears on a piece of paper. And you can even burn all the fears to kind of like cut it, release it, because your thoughts create your reality. So 10 people, they love creating beauty and have the gift of letting others know they're an inner beauty. Number 10 people, they're also related to the idea that number 10 symbolizes the ups and downs of life. So they could enjoy moments of success, advancement, progress, or overcome problems and obstacles, but they could also feel times of loss, regression, and failure. Very much 10 is like the world card in tarot, you know? It's very much, you could be on many different aspects of the wheel of time that's like spinning around. So being out in the world, you could be viewed as a very stable person, although at times you could feel very fragile and vulnerable. So just know that that sensitivity is a good thing about you. And then number 11 is Buluk. And I know we got a number 11 in the house, Tiffany. Yeah, whoop, whoop, yeah. And whoop, I passed it. Oh, I guess I skipped it a lot. So Baluk, number 11 people have a tremendous potentiality. They can but how you manifest this depends on your intentions and clarity and care, because 11 is one of the strongest energies in the whole Mayan calendar. So it's all about how you utilize the energy, whether that's for good or bad. Obviously, you would want for good. So it's all about intentionality and mindfulness. And 11 people who lack clear focus could wander aimlessly through life. If you can appropriately utilize your gifts and abilities and stay steadfastly focused on your goals, you can become highly creative and successful. And I see that you are doing that, Tiffany. You're very focused on creation of success and all the good things. So 11 is the archetype. Ooh, wow. Talk about 11 energy. It's like so powerful, right? I don't even know how I went so fast. It's almost like skip somehow. Okay, maybe my slides are out of order. But 11 is the archetype of the innovator and the system buster. So they're able to kind of like see the system and then kind of dismantle the system by creating new systems, you know? The 11 people are the cosmic catalyst causing the change. So they're the system disruptors, you know? So they might not be fully fitted into our society. So they might be kind of the freaks and the geeks, the creative folks, the freedom flags that are kind of like on the outskirts creating the real future that we need. So they could be seen as the rebel when they're really kind of like the evolutionaries, not the revolutionaries, right? 11 natives can develop into some of the finest creative artists of all. Yeah, okay, cool. And then moving on to 12 people, Connie and me, woo woo, yeah. So Laka, I especially, obviously I'm biased, but Laka is really cool because even today and on Laka days, number 12 days, you have the power to kind of self-reflect about the totality of your life at any given moment. So you can be like, how is all this influencing who I am? And then how can I change my position in life or alter my circumstances? And some people that don't know me, but then they see me in a few years, they're like, oh wow, you've switched careers like 10 times, or like because I, and like, but I feel like it's kind of, I see how all it's influencing me and I can see how I can change directions in life. So I feel 12 people, they can possess an overabundance of energy, power, and strength. Because if you think about that 13-day cycle of that wave of that pyramid of energy, everything's building and building. So like 12 energy is near 13. So 12 is one of the strongest energies and it's an even number. So they say it can be even stronger. And not to be like prideful or boastful, but like I personally know that I have more energy than anyone that like I meet. Like my wife was like super funny today. She was like, I was delirious, underslept, and then I drank a bunch of caffeine, and then I was almost on my husband's level of talking, you know, like just because, you know, and like I feel like 12 people are like we're naturally caffeinated, kind of a scenario. So
Yeah,
I don't know if yeah, okay, cool.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And so right. So 12 people often have an ability to achieve a high level of self-reliance and independence. And this also is a double-edged sword because 12 people are so self-reliant and so independent that sometimes it's hard for them to absorb like help or criticism. Like my wife's just trying to help me and I'm already like, what? Someone's trying to tell me what to do, like, but it's, so it's like, I think having like a humbleness of being a number 12 is a good thing, to being open to criticism or like people trying to help you, I think is a good thing. So yes, you can be highly self independent, which is a great thing, but it's also powerful to ask for help too. So that's just what I've learned personally from being a 12. And 12 also gives the ability to change and adjust your life path at any moment, which is really beautiful. And once again, you can really understand how the greater reality is affecting you or affecting others, because you see how society, reality, cultural influences, our modern work life, all this is influencing particular things. And 12 is really related to helping the family and the community. So 12 people can be really focused on helping their family and helping the community at large. So yes. And then moving on to the final one, Oshlahun 13. And they say that 13 is perhaps the most psychic number, even on 13 days. So even tomorrow, guys, like try to feel out the 13's energy. But if you're doing any like pendling or like praying or trying any form of divination, sometimes your answers will be more clear, more precise, more accurate, because 13 embodies that preciseness. So certain Mayan divination healers will reserve 13 days to do kind of their deep divinations, because the energy is so precise and so accurate and so psychic. So 13 is a very psychic energy. So people born on 13 days have an innate talent for divination and offering spiritual consultations from those psychic abilities, from those spiritual understandings, because they're tapped into that psychic realm. 13 people are very psychic, have spiritual powers, and or they're able to develop these powers easily. So people that are 13 and they say that they're not spiritual, that could be a part of their life that they really need to nurture, because it's would complete them more. And that's very similar to folks that are Akbal days as well, because Akbal is like the in between night and day, kind of the magic moments, or like the liminal space before you go to bed. But sometimes I've seen some Akbal people that are not choosing spiritual, when that's a big part of their life that they need to embrace. And so, but going back to 13 people, life may be difficult if they ignore that spiritual reality of life. So 13 people have boundless motivation to overcome life's obstacles and transform themselves, and they have that strong will to grow and evolve. And if we look at the Mayan consciousness, there's 13 major joints in the body, and that's where they say that Kundalini Kopoya, that Kokokan dragon lightning energy flows through. So it's related to the 13 joints in the body. So 13 people have a natural affinity to connect with that inner fire, that inner lightning of that more spiritual kind of consciousness, the double helix snake, they say. So yeah, 13 people can be very psychic. And I just think, yeah, they can be very powerful spiritual advisors as well. Awesome. So that's all the info I have like for today. Do folks have any questions or comments, or what was meaningful? Was there anything meaningful today, or like what are you guys' feelings?
Yeah.
I thought it was very meaningful. It's interesting that what you were talking about for a 12-day, I've had to kind of reevaluate. I'm retiring soon, and I've been working with my replacement, and some things came up, and it was like, okay, I need to cut the cord here, because I was getting a little bit upset about them taking the direction, but that's what they're supposed to do. So it was interesting this, because before I, got defensive, it was like, okay, I need to just reevaluate how I'm feeling about this. And tomorrow,
Yeah.
being a 13-day, I'm going to a celebration of life tomorrow for a man who lived 98 years. And so, yeah, it's kind of an interesting time how the days really line up with things that are happening.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like just building off what you're saying, like how it's interesting, like how things line up. I find like the more you start to practice like the calendar daily, you start to subtly see more of the synchronicities, because I feel like it's kind of like it starts to weave your life within the synchronistic reality that is the greater life, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's cool. Thank you for sharing. And also very interesting, like life celebration, like on a 13 completion day, you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really beautiful. Yeah. Other thoughts or feelings folks have, or questions or comments?
I see that Rosie put in the comments that she's going to a pendulum event later today, so it was close to the 13.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, right.
Maybe it'll be after nightfall and it'll be the 13
Yeah.
next week.
Right,
Um,
right.
but I just
Well,
love
that's
that. Like
cool.
it makes me feel like where was this the last 43 years? Because I mean, I'm definitely one who notices animals. I'm definitely one who notices signs and symbols and synchronicities. Yesterday, I was standing at my window giving a session, and a woodpecker in front of my like right in front of my window on my tree, a woodpecker. And I know that they're searching for snakes, and so I'm like, great, is there a snake in my tree? But still, it's like that weaving of the bird energy in such a clear way. I just love it. I
Yeah.
just feel like you convey the information in a way where it's just like filtering to our DNA, and we don't even have to understand everything in the moment. But yeah, Rosie says she likes her 10. It makes her feel better about all her fire, and like she doesn't have to start a war. Um, this
Right.
astrology, like any astrology, it helps you settle into your bones, but there's just, I don't know, there's just an easier rhythm that I want to live with this pace. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I took a
Yeah.
bunch of notes per usual, and
I,
yeah.
I'm going to a sound bath tonight, right after sundown.
Oh,
Oh,
perfect.
awesome.
That's like,
Perfect.
wow. So I'm getting the double whammy. I'm getting the sound bath, and then I'm getting the celebration of life tomorrow at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Like, wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, also, Tiffany, I want to say too, it's fun when you start to understand more of like the archetypes or the themes, because
Mhm,
even seeing the woodpecker and like that relates to Kaban. So
mhm.
it's like maybe in the moment, like Kaban coming to you as the woodpecker might be giving you some like attributes of like, I don't know, intelligence or cosmic or wisdom. I don't know, like this, there's like very subtle hints too. I've seen like
Or loud
or like
hints. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, right. Or Aladdin's, yeah, totally right.
Yesterday was spider. Like I had this, I don't want to say like, you know how daddy long legs get all together, right? Like I had that, like a wall of daddy long legs. Next to it was what's the one with a red hourglass, Black Widow. I had a
Black
bunch of Black
Widow.
Oh,
Widow, and then I had three Scorpion. And so I'm a country girl, so it doesn't bother me, and I'm not killing anything. I'm just relocating them or spraying off the area with water, so it's and they're like, I'll go nest somewhere else. But it's like it's subtle, but it's not so subtle, and you know.
Right. Yeah. Oh no, totally, totally. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was
I
in two
think that
different places. I wasn't just like, wow, I'm just in Scorpion City. Like I went to help a neighbor an hour and a half away keep her bees, and that's where the second Scorpion was. So it was like really a message, or that's how I felt in Tiffany
for sure.
Land. But
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I think having the openness to like really see the signs and symbols that they're like really apparent, I think is a way to go, you know? But I
yes,
think just maybe your receptivity to like, okay, I'm ready for like signs from the universe, and then it's like then they are bold, you know? So, you
right.
know, yeah, yeah.
And I love
It's so
them,
cool.
I like it. Just I don't know, it's like that's what it's when it feels good to be alive to me. When you get the synchronicities, you get the validation, it makes God real to me. It makes I don't know, it just keeps my faith up in some way to get a nod from the universe like that. And yeah, so
Yeah,
thank
I
you, Dave.
wholeheartily agree. Of course. Yeah, no, it's like my favorite is to see the synchronicities and the magic, you know, because it's like then we're starting to see really that life is as full of miracles and magic, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, right in front of us, right? So okay, guys. Well, as
Awesome.
always, thank you, David. I have all of the links, and I'm gonna do a special Mayan astrology email so that everybody has all the replays in order and all of that stuff with the podcast, with the calculators. I'll probably end up making a Mayan astrology page on the new site, and I'll link
Oh,
to
cool.
your page so people can find you. as the our lead sorcerer in that department.
Honored, yeah.
And I'm sure there's a better way to say that, but I look forward to, because I know that you're working on the Mayan calendar creation, and I look forward to continuing to share this layer of astrology and the cosmos and the celestial information that's available to us. So I'm so glad you've been part of the membership this year, and we all thank you. I get a ton of yay Davids on, on emails, and so just know that everybody, I'm
Yeah.
saying thank you for everybody that isn't here today, and we'll see you hopefully next time.
Thanks. It was
Yes, that
great.
sounds great. Oh, wonderful. And thank you so much for all your guys' words and feedback. And yeah, much love to you all and have a beautiful evening.
You
All right.
too. Bye.
Bye.